Yeah. Well, let's then go into one of the most nuts series probably in the entire first round, and that's Orlando and Charlotte, right? Capped off with insane drama in the third game. Orlando, who were scoring goals for fun against the top three defense in Charlotte. The fourth seeded Orlando City got off to a fast start. They shell shocked the usually defensively sound Charlotte club early. They won the first game 2-0, which also saw the dismissal of designated player Pep Biel for a kick out in the 90th minute. Was it harsh? Maybe, but it was given, and they had to get through the second game without him if they wanted to see him play one more time because he is on loan. That may be his last game. They stood tall defensively in the second game, and even though Orlando thought they sealed it in the 95th minute, it was called back for offside, and it went straight to pens. Kalina stood huge, making saves on Ladero, watching Janssen put his shot over the bar, and then saving from big Duncan McGuire to send Charlotte into a frenzy. The atmosphere was electric. Charlotte had momentum going into the final game. It was anybody's game to play. When they went back to Orlando, they faced the same sort of start from game one. It was all Orlando all the time. Kalina had to be big again. It looked to be another 0-0 game until Karol Swiderski picks up the ball at the halfway line after a Janssen mistake. He dribbles all the way down into the top of the 18, lays it off to Abada, holds his run, gets it cut back to him, and finishes with a plum, as the scholars say. Charlotte's going crazy. All they need to do is 8 minutes plus stoppage time to move on. But you got to remember who was in the house for this game. Daddy
Here we go,
Don,
another conspiracy theory.
Daddy Don, and King Pochettino sitting in the seats like a Julius Caesar. Is that the Rome, like the 300 movie where it's like is that who he's playing? I don't.
uh,
I've never seen the movie,
Probably.
but we'll call him Julius Caesar. And when he saw that, and he saw that his Orlando City were not going to move on, he gave him the thumbs down and said, "You make sure we get into penalties." How do they do that? With 8 minutes of added time, the ball gets served into the box, and Jabril Gianni just reaches out an arm, tugs the jersey of Duncan McGuire. Duncan McGuire goes tumbling. In the moment, dislocates his shoulder, which looked brutally painful for somebody who's been there before. Um, and the referee awards the penalty. Was it soft? I think so. I think the shirt stretch was there, but it didn't prevent him from going forward. I think he felt the shirt tug and went down. Um, However, it was given. As they're stepping up, time is going by, time is going by, time is going by, and referee hand to the ear says, "Hold on 1 second. They're calling me to the monitor." So the referee jogs over to the monitor, and you know what that means 99% of the time. That means time to bring this one back. Somebody saw something I didn't, right? But they only showed one angle, and that's because my guess is it was a still frame. And the whole time he had an earpiece, and it was Don Garber in his ear saying, "Don't you dare, don't you dare, don't you dare, don't you dare." So he sat there for about 5, 6 seconds, looked at it, was like, "Oh, give me one more view, whatever." And then he comes back and he says, "After review, the call stands," and they give him the penalty. Torres steps up, Torres converts. We go into another penalty shootout. So the question is, which goalkeeper rises to the occasion? Pedro Gallese, who's known for his clutch game performances, or the hero of last game's shootout, Christian Kalina? In the end, it was Gallese who would stand tall, making two clutch saves to win the shootout for Orlando. Now, we're not even going to talk about the what I judged to be very onside goal for Patrick Agyemang, which was brought back, the angles we saw were not great. But from all the angles I did see, it looked very clearly onside. We're also not going to talk about the fact that the last PK in the PK shootout may have had the single most illegal run up I've ever seen in my life. Did you see it? Have you seen it?
No, I haven't.
Oh my God, I need to show this to you. It's Rafael Santos, the left back. He takes a wide run up, jumps forward, takes two full steps backwards, runs up and slots it home. All the referees just standing there looking at him like, and again, I'm telling you, in his ear, let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go. Goal, game over. Ridiculous because nobody cares about the run up anymore. It's all about if the goalkeeper's a half a millimeter off his line, yellow card, you're done. But you can do whatever you want on the run up. Go right ahead. I don't care. Orlando move on. They are going to be the highest seed remaining in the Eastern Conference. Your thoughts on what it means for the future of the playoffs?
I mean, are you talking about like playoff format, or you mean like just how things will shape up in the rest
for
of
the
this
rest of the
playoff?
year. For the rest of the year.
I mean, it makes for a better next round, I would say. So, I mean, I get why Daddy Don was in the ear because I'm sure he already knew Atlanta was moving on to the next round. I mean, you can't beat Big Brad. So he's like, well, what's a better matchup? Atlanta Charlotte? Still a little too new. Atlanta Orlando? Yeah, that's it. All right. Then we can dive into all your conspiracy theory things of all the in the earpiece stuff and all that. But this was definitely, I think, closer than it should have been because Charlotte has the goalkeeper of the year on their team. Oh, did I just spoil what I think for that prediction? I don't know. Um, but yeah, they were not generating a lot in the attack throughout the series. I think they only broke one XG in one of the games, and even then, it barely was over one. And I mean, that's kind of been their story all year. Has been the defense has been their strong point, and wherever they can score goals, they'll take it. But yeah, I think Orlando was even though they got what seems to be a lot of dodgy stuff to work in their favor. I think at least statistically they looked to be the better team. But yeah, I mean that's a tight series. Both teams had good parts to it and bad parts to it. I think it'll make for an interesting next round. I think both teams would be susceptible to winning and losing, but I mean it's more exciting for me for the next round, so I'm fine with it. I would like to like it'll be more exciting to beat Orlando than it would be to beat Charlotte as an Atlanta fan.
Yeah, but unfortunately, that's not going to happen, right? We know that's you had your moment. Well, it was funny too because I was texting a buddy of mine. I was like, "Yeah, like everybody thought Don Garber rigs everything for Messi to win. He's going to show them. He's going to rig it against Messi because I'm going to show you."
Never let them know your next move.
Yeah, listen, it opens up for anybody to take it home, right? We talked about how the East is always the top three, and then there's this huge drop to the fourth round, the fourth team, right? Those top three are gone, right? This contest is as tight as it's ever been. Atlanta and Red Bull playing at levels nobody saw coming. Orlando consistently riding the Torres success through each game. NYC's playing on a U9 pitch. I mean, everybody's got a little something that they got going for them, right? Um, I do think I don't think that there is a favorite to advance here. I don't think that I can be like, oh yeah, like this is clearly Orlando and Orlando alone, because I think it's so close between the group of them. But what I do think is that Orlando without Duncan may be a big loss if he can't get going in a few weeks. Muriel's been okay. Enrique's doing well, but he doesn't really go 90. He usually subs off. So does he have that late game magic in him? Can they handle Atlanta without Duncan McGuire? We'll find out. But Charlotte, on the other hand, they need to find some quality depth pieces like ASAP. Outside back, center mid, both very thin this year because of injuries and what have you. And I'm sure they're looking for some help, but you instantly see the drop off in quality once subs came in those areas, right? You have to hope that they can make additions for Dean Smith to push for the top of the East because I do think that they have the ability to do so if they stay strong and hold on to some players too, right? Like Kalina playing at a goalkeeper of the year level, can he keep that up? Malanda may not be here next year. Like there's a whole bunch of things that go into it, but you got to start. You got to invest in depth now. You've got your big impact players. Now you got to go and find depth.
Yeah, I feel like I mean this team's not getting any younger either. They're one of the older teams in the league, and I feel like if they just try to run it back with the same team next year, I don't think things will go as well as they have this year. I think teams will start to figure them out, and they just don't have that firepower in their attack to kind of just willingly get beyond that point, even if teams start to figure them out a bit. So it'll be interesting to see what they do in the offseason. They obviously have some good things in place, but like you said, it's going to be about keeping those good pieces on the team.
100%. No disagreements there. Um, so again, more for not so deep dives as we get forward into season 6. But